What's up? What's up? What is up? It's another Friday, another opportunity for the Ball Hawk Sports Talk to come to you. Whether we are coming to you live as you look at us through your mobile device or your computer, or coming to you by way of sound in the podcast or even the YouTube space on our live channels. However, we're coming to you, doesn't matter. This is the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. We promise to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw. Today's episode, the title is Trick or Treat. Yes, obviously, because we are getting dangerously close to Halloween. And people are going to go outside and knock on that door and sing that crazy song, Trick or Treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat. If you don't, I don't care. I'll pull down your underwear. I think that's what it was. Whatever you might be saying as you knock on the doors, I know people are trying to convert trick or treat into a more COVID-friendly fashion. It's always a good holiday because you get to dress up. Some people get to live out their inner inhibitions, shall I say. We all get to have a good time. We get to get candy. But the thing we don't get to do is ignore sports, business, and entertainment. So like no other show in the land, the Ball Hawk Sports Talk is coming to you this morning with your boy B Brown ESQ, aka the Ball Hawk, aka the Mouth of the South, aka Mr. Excessive Celebration. We're going to be joined by the crew here. We're going to do it like we always do on a Friday morning. Like we said, rough, rugged, and raw, sports, business, entertainment. We about to get it in, y'all. Today's show, Trick or Treat, will be spooky. Strap on your seatbelt and let's go.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, and stay woke, because this is the Ball Hawk Sports Talk with your boy, B Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hawk, a.k.a. the Mouth of the South. This is the place where sports, business, and entertainment collide. And we're going to give it to you rough, rugged, and raw, so come get you a spoonful, like some grits with butter and salt. You know how we do it in the South, y'all. Make sure you do not get caught in your feelings. Strap on your seatbelt and enjoy the ride. Come on, let's go, 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 go.
What's up? What's up? What is up? You know who I'm joined by. The crew is in the building. The Big Flow Show. What's up?
What's good, America?
I love it, baby. Short, succinct, but very powerful. He said hello to all America because that's
Everybody
where
knows.
we going, y'all. The Ball Hawk Sports Talk on our way. And also joined by ETP, Els the producer. What's up, E?
Chilling, baby. What's good?
Chilling, chillaxing, all of that. It is getting close to Halloween. And we thought about coming in here in a mask, but when you are this handsome, like the three of us are, we couldn't wear a mask. We don't want to do our live audience a disservice, not show y'all our grill. Yeah, we looking real good this morning. If you were to dress up in Halloween mode, what would you be in 2021? I'll start with you. Come on. What?
Like a history teacher or something like that. I don't know. I don't know.
A history teacher.
I don't know.
I don't know how one dresses up as a history teacher, but I know you would figure it. You would figure it out.
I figured it out. I got
ETP. What would you dress up as if you did go costume?
You know, every year I have a New Year's resolution, and like I'm gonna have the best Halloween costume, and I have yet to fulfill that New Year's resolution. So I'm taking suggestions. I don't have any good Halloween costume ideas. I dressed up as Cat in the Hat one year, so I'll be the Cat in the Hat.
All right, Cat in the Hat.
That's
Cat in the Hat. I like it.
Was it like figurative, like just cat with hat? Or did you actually?
I'm just the Cat in the Hat.
Yeah, that's pretty decent. That's fantastic.
To all of those who are joining us, good morning. I see a whole bunch of good mornings. It always makes us feel good, man. The live audience really appreciate you guys. We're gonna get in. We got some good stuff this morning. It is the fall. It's that type of year, that time of year where everything overlaps. One of the sports ended last week, WNBA, but it's the rare time of the year where you've got almost all of it right here, right? You got NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL stories. This is, for a sports fan, this is a perfect time of year. But we start the week off with a few things. The first is the recap of last night's game. there was still one team left that was undefeated in the NFL, the Arizona Cardinals, and they matched up against the one-loss Green Bay Packers last night in a game that was sure to be a competitive matchup between two great teams. Aaron Rodgers still discount double check. After they got blown out by the Saints in week 1, they have gone on a run. They've looked very good. They continued that last night. And in a game that went back and forth to a certain degree, every time you thought Green Bay was going to pull away, Arizona answered. In a game that we should be talking about all of the back and forth, really everyone's going to be talking about the last play of the game. Yeah, right. With 50, well, essentially last play of the game. The game that decided the game. 15 seconds left. 2nd and goal. Arizona's going in to score. The 72 Dolphins are nervous that, again, the Arizona's going to pull it out, win, and be undefeated, so they can't pop their champagne. And then I'll let you describe it, because the Big Flow show he's had issue with what he saw going. So I'll let you describe it.
That's in my DNA. I hate Green Bay. They're driving down the field, and I feel like AJ Green still doesn't know what happened. He's woke up this morning, seen the replay, doesn't understand. But he just runs a simple out, turns, and the game is over. Let's go. 15 seconds for double check to try to come back and score. It doesn't happen. But he stops and lets the man get the interception.
AJ Green, we should let everybody know AJ Green's playing with the Cardinals now, because I didn't know that before the season. He's with the Cardinals now. So he is on offense playing with the Cardinals.
Inexplicable. You can't do that. You can't. Come on, man. Damn ass inexplicable. You can't do that, man. I don't know. At the end
it looked like he forgot that. It might have been miscommunication. Miscommunication. Spoiler alert for those who haven't seen the highlights.
What did you think they were going to do? What was he doing?
It looked like a perfect back shoulder throw, which is now the norm in that setting. The perfect back shoulder throw, but AJ Green got caught looking up at the top part of the stadium. Like he saw his cousin that he hadn't seen in forever. He was looking randomly in the air as opposed to looking for the ball. And Rasul Douglas, yes, he went to West Virginia, but he also went to played for the East Orange Junior Jaguars. We got championship week this Sunday. Y'all come out and support us. Championship week at Paul Robeson Stadium. But that Rasul Douglas from East Orange, New Jersey, gets the play of the game because it's a walk-off interception. Arizona gets the one loss. The 72 Dolphins are popping bottles because, indeed, there is no more undefeateds for the 21-22 seasons, this particular season. But it was an interesting ending to a game. Kyler Murray, who, again, I've apologized to several times, saying he was too small to play in the NFL. I was wrong. He continues to play very well. It is an amazing start to this week of the NFL when you got a one-loss Green Bay Packers team beat an undefeated Arizona team. It comes down to essentially the last play of the game. Thursday night football has been criticized by a lot of people, but we got our money's worth last night. That was a heck of a game.
They've had some good games on Thursday nights.
They have. They moved away from that whole, what were the thing, the splash uniforms? Remember that? The gimmick on Thursday night?
Rush.
Lightning? Yeah,
color rush.
Are they still doing that Nickelodeon thing? Was that the Nickelodeon thing?
No,
they do that for the playoffs.
That was separate. That was
the playoffs, right?
Yeah, but I didn't see any gimmicky uniforms last night, which I thought this close to Halloween would be the time. But they played very well, both teams. I think both are potentially going to be on a path towards each other again in the NFC, but impossible because I said the Dallas Cowboys are going to be NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I wanted to remind you of that. I think we just saw the NFC Championship game, but according to you think it's going to be the Cowboys. So who are the Cowboys going to play then? You got the Packers.
I think I'm liking the Packers. I like that.
Wow. They play again. AJ's gonna know the play, and they're gonna win.
Yeah,
that's not gonna.
He looked like he had just finished hit.
Even after the interception, he still didn't look like he understood what was going on. Like, how did you get the ball?
Like he forgot where he was.
Maybe he was concussed. Yeah. That is so weird. His body language didn't make any sense to me.
It didn't make any sense. It was just though somebody on the sideline went puff and passed right before he went on the field. He looked high as the kite on that play.
Still not legal, but Arizona got to be legal right now. Marijuana.
I don't know.
Yeah, they think they just legalized it.
Yeah, so I think his concession stand at halftime.
But so given that it's legal, you guys must be smoking because of all the NFC Championship teams, Tampa Bay Buccaneers might be somebody you heard of.
Yeah, it didn't even come up, huh?
I'm not.
We don't say we must be spoken. That was a conversation with you and B about the Cowgirls and all those people right there. But you're right. Tampa Bay, until proven otherwise, is they got to be the champ.
No, they don't.
I like Arizona though. Arizona has so many names. They can sell better football cards than anybody else. They got a lot of talent on that team.
They do. Arizona's a great
The
team.
receiving core is ridiculous. They got young talent. They got running backs. They got it, man. Kyler Murray.
All right, so who do we see coming out of the AFC? And please chime in to all the Ball Hog Sports Talk audience members. Please chime in. Who do you guys see coming out of the NFC? We've got 3 names at least. No, 4 names because we said Arizona, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, and I'm a minority here, but I think the Cowboys have shown me enough to suggest that they'll be there. So 4 names, only 2 spots. Who do we have coming out of the AFC? Who do you think? And ETP, you better not say the Patriots. At some point, you got to move on, man. It's not going to happen.
Tennessee Titans.
Titans.
They got the best running back and quarterback in the game. Derrick Henry threw a touchdown pass last week.
I'm about to say, who's their quarterback? It's so good.
Yeah, I know, right?
He can throw passes now. Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill hasn't played like last year's Ryan Tannehill, but when you have Derrick Henry in your backfield, it
who cares?
Who cares? You know who I think's coming out of the AFC?
The Doodoo Browns.
Why be so disrespectful? We are now 1 game back.
I'm just saying the Doodoo Browns.
It's a 3-team race. We're 1 game back, and Cincinnati did what we needed them to do. They put the pause on the Ravens, and so it is.
I like
and look,
the Ravens.
We're 3 names
Ravens
in.
too.
I like.
We're 3 names into the AFC North, and I still haven't said the Steelers, who are playing better. Best division in all of football, AFC North, and in Cleveland Browns fashion, because we only know how to do it one way. We got to go. We got to do it the hard way. We're going to be the best team in the best division, and that's how we end up coming out of the AFC.
Wait. The best division is the AFC North.
AFC North, best division of football.
Don't humor him.
Oh, in all of football.
In all of football.
Benny and Kareem both said the Bill. I think he's saying Bill Titans. I don't know.
The Bills and Titans. Yeah.
But Benny was very clear with his pick of the Bills. Decent squad. You know what? This year NFL is competitive. There's no clear guys anymore. I mean,
that's like saying the Knicks are gonna win the finals. I can't accept. The Bills could be great. I just can't buy it.
They just figure out a way.
They got to get somebody to come to Buffalo.
One thing losers gonna do, lose. Yes, I did it, Bills. I called you guys losers. I just did that right here on the Ball Hog Sports Talk. Get mad.
As a Cleveland Brown, you feel comfortable saying that in public as a Cleveland Brown.
Yeah. Hey, look, we didn't make it to the 4 Super Bowls, but I feel like if we would have made it to, we'd have won one of them. You know?
If we had made it.
It's 2021, anything goes. That's as logical as anything else I've heard.
Yeah. If we won one of them. We'd won one.
If I was a billionaire, I definitely wouldn't have lost all that money.
Yeah, I said it. All right, so that's our NFL recap. Looking into some great matchups in the coming week. We'll see a lot of injuries, man. So NFL is gonna come down to injuries. Who can avoid injury? That's why I don't like the Patriots. Patriots. Freudian slip. That's why I don't like the Buccaneers. I feel like ultimately old people get hurt, and they got a lot of old people on that team. And ultimately they get hurt. But I did like last night seeing who would be considered the prototypical quarterback in Aaron Rodgers going up against the exact opposite in Kyler Murray. He's not a pro-style pocket quarterback. He might be 5'11".
No,
5'10".
10-ish.
5'10".
I don't know if he's even
5'9".
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Short.
He's short, period.
He does everything that they tell you not to do. He'll throw across his body. It just makes it work. He's a winner, though. Watching those two play together in the same game and having the impact that they both did on their teams, it just goes to show you, man, it ain't one size fit all when it comes to playing quarterback in the NFL. Did that look like that to you guys last night? It just looked like The dichotomy of those two in that matchup was pretty interesting.
Kyler, you get used to seeing him. He's like Roscoe out there running around. And he's so quick,
like Roscoe. Snotty nose Roscoe. Don't do the man like that. Man.
But he's so quick when he runs. Just something about him, like little Dash from the Incredibles or whatever. So I don't know. I'm used to it.
Was this supposed to be a compliment? This was you. This is your compliment angle.
Yeah.
You now called him Roscoe and Dash, and this is the angle.
But it's so crazy that you're just used to it now. Like, you know what I mean? I've been watching him do it. He keeps doing it. I'm convinced he belonged. No matter what happens in his career now, he belonged in the NFL, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like he came and just gave a flash. He belonged. He's put some seasons together. Whatever happens from here, stop talking about that with the hype.
When you look at him on film, he looks like a baseball player, right? Just his stature. He looks like, he's going to be a perfect baseball player. But he showed all of us that when you follow your dreams, baby, follow those dreams. We got to get some other NFL stories. There's some good ones that we'll get to real quickly. But I have to at least bring them up. One is the gentleman who plays quarterback in Tampa Bay.
How you forgot his name? You're the president of the fan club.
I know, right? Because I was going too far down the rabbit hole. Somebody a friend of mine called me like, yo, I thought you really didn't like Tom Brady, man. I've been peeping out your shows lately. It's like you're on the Tom Brady train. So let me just make it clear, like, because I don't want nobody to be confused. Don't be confused. I don't like that dude. I don't like him. I think he cheated. You know what I'm saying? I hate on him any opportunity I can. I imagine just because we haven't had a face-to-face, so I can make this statement, I imagine his breath is stank. His breath got to be ranking. Anything I can say about him, he probably got a bunion on every toe. Anything I can say about him that no one can verify, I'm going to say about him. I dislike him that much. But after saying all that, I got to respect him. Especially now because his 600th TD touchdown went to Mike Evans. And Mike Evans didn't really appreciate the significance of the moment and just gave the ball away.
He gave up the ghost.
And so now there's this back and forth where they're trying to figure out what the equipment manager went and secured the ball. The fan gave the ball back, but now there is a sort of the after effect of them trying to come to terms of what the value of the ball is. So what are some of the things that this fan has gotten? ETP, I know you're familiar with this. This fan has gotten fill in the blank for giving that 600 TD ball, which will go down as, he won't get to 700. So this is the one. This is the football that has.
Act like Tom Brady gonna retire anytime soon. He'll be playing with your kids in the league.
He's not.
He's on pace. He's on pace to throw 97,000 touchdowns this year. So I think he easily crushed 700.
How did this segment where I started off hating on Tom Brady become so Tom Brady favorite?
You rubbed off on me, man. You rubbed off on me. I gotta show my love for Tom Brady now. But the fan who willingly gave up the ball did not negotiate before he gave up the ball.
Didn't even get tased. You'd have to tase me.
Yeah, he didn't. No, didn't even get tased. You didn't even make it an event.
You said, you want what back? Huh? Yeah, play it. Ain't gonna
didn't
work.
even hand it to the getaway driver. Nothing.
Nah, man. We gonna test these hands.
Right.
But he's a black belt. It's okay. That's fine. I can figure it out.
I wonder if the fan knew when they came over to him that it was the 600 ball. The news had already broke out to him. Where did they say, "Hey man, let me get that ball from you real quick"? And right. Turn and walk away.
Sports updates happen immediately. Like, come on, man.
Sometimes you're in the stadium. That's the last place that you want to be because you don't get all that. You got
maybe the fan didn't know. To your credit, maybe the fan didn't know. I went in thinking the fan knew and still handed that 600 TD ball back to the equipment manager, to which his entire family, his entire lineage, that is a generation-changing item that you have, right? To have in your family. It should be an heirloom. His whole family should have disowned him on the spot. You gave the ball back? The 600 TD that Tom Brady threw, and you gave the ball back? Come on, man.
He at first glance, he squandered an opportunity. But but if he was the Cleveland Browns and if they had made it to the Super Bowl, they would have won, right?
So you playing my emotions.
Yeah.
I get what you're
But
saying.
but he was compensated.
Had he
right?
been a
Because-
history teacher, he would give things like that back.
But he was compensated. He was compensated well. He's getting some helmets and jerseys. So Mike Evans, the receiver for the Bucks,
Helmets and jerseys. Stop it.
Hold on, I'm not finished. He gave up the ball accidentally, so that started this whole scandal, so to speak.
It slipped.
And so Mike Evans is throwing in some signed cleats and jerseys. Tom Brady promised that he's going to give a helmet, some jerseys, so he's going to get some valuable memorabilia, apparel. He is also getting 2 season tickets for the rest of this season and for next season, which, if you've been to an NFL game lately, that's not a small item. But then on top of that, he got a Bitcoin gifted to him from Tom Brady, which is currently valued, I think, a little over $60,000. And then on top of that,
how do you give somebody a
Gronkowski-
Bitcoin? By the way, we
It's
talk about that later.
like buying a share of stock. Like you put.
I can give you a Bitcoin. What do I do? It's not tangible. I digress. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I give somebody.
talk to your financial advisor.
Somebody
Right,
text
right.
me in the comments.
We,
Somebody put
we are
that in
not
the comments.
authorized
Give
to
me a
operate
disclaimer.
as a fiduciary
Give me a
representative.
They're rich people problems. Don't stop asking us about rich people. How do you give you a
I'm
Bitcoin?
sorry.
We don't know.
I apologize.
I don't even know how to give somebody a
Somebody
used
show
car
me how to
and
give me a
sign it
Bitcoin.
over.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you give somebody a Bitcoin? Stop bringing them rich people.
You can't answer.
questions in here. I don't know.
You can't answer it.
Right.
And you
All right. So you
I
feel
did
like
But he also got some crypto. So then Gronkowski got involved and gifted him some alternative crypto, which was valued at about 30,000. So all in, he made easily over $100,000, and he got the goodwill of looking like a nice guy, giving Tom Brady back his prized possession. And
you know
nobody
how much leverage you have with that football? Like you literally could say, like, look, man, I don't want to be offensive and I wouldn't do anything crazy. But if you want this football back, I gotta get a dinner night with Giselle. Like it's like Tom Brady would have considered it. He's like,
Yeah.
So you're saying like, is it dinner and
He
movie?
said, man, I got 599 other balls just like that. I should kill yourself.
So he said, well, he did say, the fan didn't say he wanted dinner with Giselle. He said he wanted a round of golf with Brady, which he could have negotiated. I don't think that's going to happen now, especially since he's like, dog, I gave you a Bitcoin. Get off my phone.
Yeah.
You know what, though? We all need more friends like Gronkowski. Why the hell did Gronkowski give him something?
Yeah, why are you even involved?
I need friends like that. Any of my friends listening, when I'm in a situation where it's a PR nightmare, I need you to come to my rescue and give people cryptocurrency for nothing. You have nothing to do with the story. Is he trying to
I don't know
Makes
what
you
he
question the value of the crypto. Clearly, he's trying to pump
If
up
it's
the
$1,
price of that
It's
cryptocurrency.
nothing to do with Gronkowski. He didn't get he's supposed to be mad with the ball didn't go to him.
Right.
That's
But he just
trying
comes to the
build up
radio
that-
and,
man.
and drops
It-
off 30,000 in cryptocurrencies.
Yeah. They're trying to build up that demand, but
Things are
pump up that
changing,
price.
He's trying to get followers. That's
Ain't
what
no
he's
I
trying
and 10. Yeah, ain't no we either.
Yeah.
He feels as though it's we when it comes to a team situation.
That's
600, good for Gronkowski. I wouldn't have done it. Titans and KC, man, great game. KC continues to spiral out of control, so much so that they let Derrick Henry throw a touchdown. When you thought Superman was done, he shows you another superpower. Derrick Henry throwing touchdowns. I don't know what else. It is going to become like the last Boy Scout. Somebody going to pull out a gun and try to shoot that man to stop him. That's about the only way you got a shot. And even then, it better be a good shot because he is invincible right now. The odds that Kansas City makes the playoffs are down to like 40%.
It's that high.
Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk it? The odds that Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, swimming in all that money, Andy Reid, the genius himself, Eric Bieniemy, who's considered the hottest assistant coach in the NFL,
Was.
all of the firepower, and they might not be in the playoffs. Playoffs.
That $500 million ain't looking like such a good investment right now.
Well,
Got to pay for some defense.
Got to pay for defense, and everybody else, you're taking everybody's best shot. Truth of the matter, Cleveland should have beat them too. I know, I digress. It keeps coming back to that. We should beat them too. But you're taking everybody's best shot except Cleveland's punter, and who lost the game. And now Kansas City is showing that they got some kinks in armor. They're showing some kinks in armor. What do you guys think? Quickly before we got to get to AFC North again. What do you think? Is Kansas City done?
No.
You think they make the playoffs in 2021-2022 season?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say they're going to get it together starting this week.
They're running out of time.
They are.
They're running out of time quickly.
What they don't want, the NFL doesn't want, is for them to get a real high draft pick and pick somebody real nice, because they still got a squad in there. They're just a little off kilter.
They are.
Equilibrium's off.
They are. Anything about the Kansas City Chiefs that you could tell us that we don't already know? Give me some faith that they're gonna come back, ETP. Or you in my camp believe that the Titanic, the band is playing, this thing's over. That ship is sinking.
It's tough. I can't see them missing the playoffs, but they're third in their division alone right now. They're basically tied for an opportunity to make the wild card. It's going to be an uphill battle. If it's funny, when we started the season, people were saying, "Oh, well, maybe defenses have figured out Lamar Jackson." He's showing them that they haven't. Maybe defenses are starting to figure out Patrick Mahomes, which is a crazy idea. If I had said that in August, you'd call me crazy.
Nah, they would have drug tested you on the spot, but yet we see it right before our very eyes. He doesn't seem invincible anymore. The Bengals, who I have to talk about, did what no one thought that they were going to be able to do: beat the Ravens and look good doing it convincingly. The Ravens are for real. Now, like I said, it is the best division in all of football. While I thought that would be the story of all stories in the AFC North, another story kind of surfaced out of nowhere. Somehow, some way, we're talking about Mike Tomlin getting the USC job, or being considered the favorite for the USC job, which means that he wouldn't be in Pittsburgh anymore. And then you look at what Mike Tomlin has been able to do with this Pittsburgh Steelers team, and you look at his record, he's never had a losing record. And last year with the injuries, and Mike Tomlin should have been up for like Coach of the Year, and we are talking about Mike Tomlin taking another job. Pittsburgh is notorious for keeping their coaches, but yet Mike Tomlin is the center of a conversation about USC. And Mike Tomlin's response to this rumor that he's the head candidate for USC, I thought was beautiful. First, he's like, they ain't got enough money. Ain't no booster with enough money. So if indeed it is a conversation, he just upped the ante. Y'all better back up the Brinks truck. But it seemed as though Mike Tomlin took a little umbrage, took a little issue with how the conversation was playing out, and said, I bet, I don't remember two coaches. Who did he say? Sean Payton. Who else did he say?
Andy Reid.
Sean Payton and Andy Reid. I'm sure they don't have to answer these questions. Basically saying, when a black man is put in this position, you guys create this narrative that my job is insecure, or that my career is some way, somehow on unsteady ground. Why are you talking about me going to the USC Trojans when I'm the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers? Did he have some validity in making that statement, in that comparison? Because he's right. I don't hear a bunch of Andy Reid rumors or Sean Payton rumors, but the only difference between the two is, or the three rather, is one of the three is black, the other two are white coaches. Is Mike Tomlin on to something, or should he took it just as a compliment that USC and their fans want him as their coach?
Hey, when I first heard this story, I heard the interview with Carson Palmer. The way Carson Palmer was describing it was completely complimentary, as from a standpoint is he wants the best for USC, and he's just thinking he thinks he went there. He thinks it's the greatest job on earth. So from his standpoint, he's biased. I didn't look at it as an insult. He said, maybe Tomlin is tired of, doesn't want to deal with having to try to find a replacement for Ben Roethlisberger, and just talking about what he could be tired of in the job and how this could be a great job for him. So really, in some ways, he was trying to sell Tomlin on this job. So he knows that this would be an unbelievable get. I never really thought about it until I heard this morning about that comparison, about people asking the question. But you're right. The media should have then said, this is preposterous. Why on earth would he ever take a job like this? Like, if you said Nick Saban was going to go take a job at a D2 school, someone would be like, the hell are you talking about? Like, the media would tell you it's crazy. But
I love that you just made that analogy, because that's so disrespectful to USC. Add more to it, baby. Add more to it. I love it.
But I mean, really, the NFL, one of the pillars of football. I mean, the Steelers are like, top 5 NFL programs of all time, and he's the head coach, the third head coach.
I'm a
He's
Browns
been
fan.
there
Anyway.
for so long, whether you like him or not. The Steelers is a super respectable, high, job to get. Only two other people have had the job in the last however many years, and to say that USC, like, oh yeah, we could, we should have him quit that great job he has to come take this job. And let's face it, USC has not been the destination it's supposed to be for a couple of years now. They've been kind of, we haven't even talked trash once yet on this show about the fact that Notre Dame pistol whipped them, because it's not even that big of a deal anymore, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it should be insulting to him. And I didn't think about it, and I feel guilty that I didn't think that right away. I feel guilty that I didn't say that, because I got duped by Palmer and his sell job about why it would be so great. But he should be insulted by that.
Do we just get, and I didn't, when I first heard it, didn't get offended either. Is it that we get lulled into this narrative that the media has, whether consciously or subconsciously, that puts brothers like Mike Tomlin under a microscope that is different than his peers, different than Sean Payton, different than Andy Reid? Did I fall for the banana in the tailpipe by even having a discussion of Mike Tomlin going to USC? Because as they started talking, I was like, oh, I could see that. He probably really get along with young people, and I could see him being a good recruiter. Never did I think, like, that's offensive. So maybe I was lulled into.
I'm with you. I have to admit, I'm with you. I fell for it, and when you think about Andy, if someone said Andy Reid would be up for the USC job, you'd be like, what? Hell no.
Why would Andy Reid even consider going to USC, right?
Yep.
ETP, I don't know what you thought about it, man. Mike Tomlin, when you look at his record, I remember when Steelers fans had the audacity, had the nerve to start saying, yeah, well, but Mike Tomlin, he can't win the big one. Or, they were uneasy about some of the gaps in the game, or time management, clock management. And I'm thinking, every NFL team would die to have a Mike Tomlin. Look at the man's record. But I was just saying, those are fans being fans. You can never be too perfect for a fan. You mess up once, and that's why I told you, Mike Tomlin. But to see it now become a lot more universal, it's not just Steelers fans being hypercritical of their coach. The sports world literally had a conversation about Mike Tomlin of the Pittsburgh Steelers, with the record that he has, taking the job at USC.
Yeah, I mean, Tomlin is a unique personality, right? Like, he's just, when you start talking about great coaches, and I was just gonna mention, one of the viewers, Walter Douglas, mentioned he doesn't have a great PR machine like the other coaches.
Right.
He's not a firebrand. Like, he's not a celebrity coach. He's just an under the radar. He fits very well in the Pittsburgh Steelers organization. He goes to work, he delivers, he keeps grinding. He's also a victim of a successful organization, right? Because even though he's never had a losing record, up until Tom Brady was dropped from Krypton, we basically had the Pittsburgh Steelers with a gold standard of NFL football, right? The most championships, they were perennial champions. And so even with him being as great of a coach as he is, like you said, in any other situation, he's basically having parades and keys to the city every Sunday because of his success. But the Pittsburgh Steelers job is a hard one to impress the general public, because the Pittsburgh Steelers have been successful for so long. So I'm just confused where this came from. Like, who's Carson Palmer talking to? And was he in a meeting where they're like, you know what would be great? Mike Tomlin. Like, that's just like an imaginary brainstorm. Because where does that come from? Where does the thought that you're gonna go get the third coach in the past 50, 60 years for one of the greatest sports franchises in the world, and you're going to talk them into coming and taking a coaching job, even though it's in California, which is a little bit nicer weather than Pittsburgh, and it's a high-profile gig. But yet, and again, it's a springboard to a pro gig. Why would you slide back? So I don't know where it came from.
You can't be mad at USC, though. You can't be mad at USC or Carson
Shoot your
Palmer
shot.
for that, because
Shoot your shot.
Yeah, they want the best. They would like to have, Nick Saban. They'd like to have. I mean, just name the fill in the Bill. They'd love to have Bill Belichick to be the coach, right? I mean, of course they would. Why wouldn't you? But it's us that should feel disappointed in ourselves, and the media that should be disappointed for even letting that conversation go. Now, I do believe the way that he is demeanor and the way he carries himself. If you take away the fact that it's insulting, I think he'd be such a great college coach because I think that just raising young men, I think he would do such a great job influencing them. So for that purpose, I'd love for my son to be able to, be in a situation where he could play for a man like that. But it is completely, and I'm ashamed of myself for not laughing it off right when it came out, because I absolutely would have done for Andy Reid or for Sean Payton. I would have been like, "What? USC? You kidding me?" And I'm embarrassed that I didn't immediately feel the same way when it came to Tomlin. So he should be offended by that. I think he should be offended. And Mike Tomlin, I apologize to you.
Well said. In this episode of Trick or Treat, that is the quintessential trick or treat, right? Them getting a Mike Tomlin would be a treat, USC. But I think we were tricked into having the conversation and not pretending as though it was an insult. A good time to transition into another sub-story of the NFL, the Rooney Rule changing, and now each one of the organizations needing not to interview one, but two diverse candidates. Mike Tomlin has been, when I think of the Rooney Rule and I think of some of the challenges, Mike Tomlin has been one of the positives that has come out of what the Rooney Rule was intended. And look, it's called the Rooney Rule, so it has connections to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Going from one mandatory interviewee that is a person of color, a diverse candidate, to two, are we getting closer to it having real teeth? The rule itself. We've talked about the rule being window dressing several times here on the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, but going from one to two mandatory interviewees, are we getting a little closer to it having a little more substance?
I mean, this forced. The problem. The problem alone is in that there has to be mandates, right? And the reality is the pipeline, the talent pool, the amount of people that have come through the pipeline and played, we're talking 60, 70, 80% at some point Black, and we're still requiring mandates. So I don't know that, okay, now you have to, now you have to interview an external candidate in person. Now you have to interview two candidates. If it's not changing, like you're trying to continue to tighten the screws to say, hire Black people, hire a Black man for this position, hire a Black person for this position. The fact that the numbers are still dismal, I don't know that ratcheting it up a tiny bit, it just shows how failed the concept is, because people are just checking boxes. That's what they were doing before. And now they're like, here's more boxes to check. So it's an inherent issue. I don't know that this can't be a bad thing, right? You're requiring more exposure. It encourages more people to go through the pipeline, but are we still going to see that disparity gets resolved? I don't necessarily see it until there's more like systemic change. Once we talk Black ownership and diversity at that level, I don't necessarily see any real incentive to change the makeup of the coaching staffs.
I'll say this, because that rhetorical that we often have, well, it can't be a bad thing because now they're interviewing two. I say that it absolutely could be a bad thing. It's almost like when, of course, I was happy when the first Black president was elected, but then there was this other side of me that said people with racist views are going to feel as though they've been absolved from the history. Mm-hmm. And similar to, it's a very large leap that I'm trying to make here, but I'm going to make it anyway. Similar to this scenario, the negative in it could be a bad thing, because now those who have no intentions of really giving people of color real opportunity in decision-making roles in their organization can use as a crutch. Yeah, I mean, but we interviewed two brothers. It just didn't work out. You got twice the coverage, twice the excuse, twice the man. We had 2 black candidates in here. It just didn't work out. We decided to go in a different direction. I'll let you take us home on this one, the Big Flow Show, before we move on.
It's like bone throwing. I guess like no meat on the bone. It's like, to me, it's an insult of our intelligence. Okay, we're gonna just force you here in the wake of the Washington football team's email leak. Now we come out and say, oh, we're gonna interview 2 black people or two minorities to each job, and we can do this, and they have to be in person. And what are we doing? They have to be in person. It can't be on Zoom. All these rules. What are you doing? Like, who's falling for that? Like, I want to know who sat down in the room and negotiated that and said, this is what I want. Like, who was like, all right, that's cool. We got something. Is that what D. Smith is doing? Is that, I don't know who comes up with this stuff, but like, I don't understand.
You think D. Smith had on his kente cloth and put up his black power fist as soon as he heard it? They went from one candidate.
Like, I've never talked to anybody.
To the people.
I've never talked to anyone ever in the casual conversation, black, white, or any color, that said that they thought this is anything. I've never heard anyone say, man, this is a fantastic move. This is great. So I don't see where just interviewing these people. I mean, have we seen more black coaches because of it? No. They come and they go and they do whatever. Have we seen more rope given to people? Equal rope. I shouldn't say more rope. Equal rope being given to black coaches? No. So it's stupid. I'm mad that we've been discussing it.
We have a question here presented in the live audience, which I like. At what point do they mandate that a woman or member of the LGBTQ plus community be interviewed? Mandates don't change systems. So the statement, mandates don't change systems, is what we seem to all be saying here. But the question before that, it is just a matter of time. And if you look at the influence of communities, whether underserved in certain spaces, sports, LGBTQ community, definitely, I would consider to be underrepresented.
Well, does that fall within the Rooney Rule? Does that, since they are a minority
I don't know. I think it could. I don't know.
I don't know. I'll tell you, and I know this might not be popular for the viewers, but I don't care. I take offense to I take offense when other groups of people try to get involved, like, women coaches in football. What have women done with football that they deserve a seat at the table? Black people deserve a seat at the table, because without black people, there would be no NFL. There would be no football.
Well, some would say without those players, though, look at all the mothers that raised those young men and
everyone's
allowed them to play a risky game like football.
I'm just saying, like, we haven't had.
But you mean the direct participation is what?
Yeah, right? This game has not been built on the backs of LGBT plus community. Sorry if I got that wrong, because I'm speaking.
You forgot a Q, but you're good.
The Q community. There haven't been a pillar of this league that have created people. I'm sure there's been a lot of players that have not come out that have played whatever, but it hasn't been like largely based off of that. Women have played a major role in football, and they haven't done something. So when you start throwing that around in the same conversation as black coaches, it's super offensive to me. And I'm like, what? Man, listen, talk to me in 50 years. Come back to me in 50 years when you start to get your weight up and start to really participate in the sport. And then you can start talking about you need a seat at the table. I feel like, I don't know how many women assistant coaches we have, and reffing is different. There's no reason why a man or woman or anybody couldn't be a ref. I don't think about that. But like with the coaches and stuff, you got these women coaches. We still don't have equal representation with black coaches, and now we have women jumping the line and coming involved. From what? From what dues have been paid? That all of a sudden now we need to get these extra groups saying we need our seat at the table too in the NFL. Go sit down until we start to get the stuff with the blacks. Go sit down somewhere, because nobody has played a part in this sport except for that's been discriminated against except black folks. So that's me. I'm off my soapbox. If you don't like it, right, please comment and then delete it, because I don't care.
But you invite them to share it, but you're letting them know.
But then delete it after you shared it.
Delete it. I don't care.
That just pisses me off.
That's a great question, though. Just how long is it going to be before you substitute black candidate for LGBTQ member or a woman candidate. Seems as though that we're going down that path. I think the NFL in its campaign to support the LGBTQ community and the is it Trevor? What's the project?
Trevor. The Trevor Project.
Trevor Project, which is essentially supporting people to come out of the closet. And one additional encouraging or supportive adult, one additional supportive adult, how it reduces the risk of the LGBTQ community member committing suicide or becoming depressed and I'm with that. But you see how quick the NFL was able to put together that campaign, and it's an impressive campaign. It just seems as though if you compare that to the fact that, you know, there's still very few minority coaches outside of Mike Tomlin. You got Robert Saleh and David Culley. David Culley he's a stopgap provision. He's not a long-term solution in Houston. We all know that. 3 minority general managers: Martin Mayhew, Brad Holmes, Terry Fontenot, I think that's how you say his last name. But all of them are just hired in the last cycle, and yet the LGBTQ community definitely has the support of the NFL. And I do think that there will be a mandate soon that says when you're interviewing candidates, the LGBTQ community has to be one of those. I don't know if it would be a part of the Rooney Rule or something separate. It's really, really interesting, man. And we talked about how, you know, the emails that came out, right? The Washington football team. Gruden would have been fine if the only offensive thing he said was about DeMaurice Smith and his rubber lips.
I don't remember.
It was the second round of emails that included some homophobic language that got him in trouble and hot water. And it's just really interesting to see the different responses into those respective communities.
Well, I think the interesting thing about the response, right? So there's the internal. I think the question is about the tolerance internally, right? I mean, when it came out about D. Smith and how these racist comments, I mean, the amount of black people of influence that you had coming out, essentially playing apologist for those statements, and we should forgive him and all of this.
Yeah.
The amount of support that came out by black people for their statements. Once you started seeing things come out about misogyny and homophobia and all of those comments, you didn't have Carl Nassib didn't stand up and say, I know this, I know his heart, everything is great. No, there's an intolerance by those communities that's different than the intolerance that the black community represents, and that limits how much the recourse is. And I understand we're disenfranchised. Black people are disenfranchised from having influence to make change historically. But there's also the fact that these people, black people, stood up as soon as those emails came. They probably didn't even read the whole thing. They came out and making statements. I've worked with him for 30 years. There's no way he's racist. Apologizing on behalf of a white man that's made racist, misogynist, homophobic statements. No women his wife didn't come out and say anything. Carl Nassib didn't come out and say nothing. They're not having it.
Isn't that a survival mechanism? Could that be a byproduct of survival though?
Absolutely. And that's the disenfranchised. Yeah. So that, I mean, if we're going to go there, like, yes, in order to maintain that survival and to even be considered in a position of minor influence, you have to kind of support and defend the system, right? And black people have been, for survival, have had to support and defend the system for many years. So that cultural element plays out here. I'm not saying that there's not a reason for it, but at the same time, that's why you see the difference in the impact and the outcry, because black people, the amount of black people that came to his defense as soon as that email came out was outstanding.
Without even getting
I
the
wish
full
that
story.
would happen for things that were, what's that?
I mean, like the full story hadn't even been out yet, and they couldn't wait to come out and start saying it. Sometimes I say this, listen, I got a ton of friends of all backgrounds, whatever. And if one of my white friends does some stuff that shocks me, that comes out of character, My first thing is I'm going to say nothing until I figure out further. I'm not just going to come forward and just blindly cut for him or anybody, right?
Right.
So look, okay, he obviously never said that he looks like you have Michelin tire lips, right? He never told you that. So when you hear that he said it, before you start jumping in front of swords, step back and say, what else did he say? Right? People get shocked all the time. People get shocked and find out that people are married to somebody for 30 years and find out they don't know who they've been sleeping next to all this time. So why are we, like, to your point, why are we so quick to just jump out in front of the microphone and cut for this man? Hold on, man. Let's find out what else he said in this email. Nope. I'm going to cut for him. And hats off to the LGBTQ community for saying shit. I'm not speaking up for him. Carl Nassib was like, Carl Nassib said, I'm not coming to work tomorrow. How about that?
Yeah.
I need a mental.
You guys
health
cutting for him. I need to stay home. I thought this dude trying to be cool to me, but this is how he did Michael Sam and all that stuff. I liked it. We're too damn forgiving of stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, Dave Chappelle used the N-word and talked about black folk for his entire career. And his last special, people are trying to cancel him and get it pulled from Netflix for one very specific skit that offended the LGBTQ plus community. So it's just interesting to see that maybe now we're in a position where we can look back on it. Maybe the art of survival has really undermined our ability to thrive. In a league that's 80% black, it's almost embarrassing that you only have 3 executives that are people of color, 3 coaches, and the executives recently hired. It's almost embarrassing. It's almost embarrassing, right? If you think about it, and yet,
what makes it only almost? I guess is the question.
The reason I say almost,
we had to add to it that would actually.
The reason I say
are you
almost,
a victim of the? Are you a victim of
No.
this systemic?
We are, though. We all are.
Of course.
Maybe I am.
joking,
Some situation,
but the reason
I look back at myself and I'm embarrassed by it because I'm like, I'm a victim of it because I let myself think into it. I let people program me to think a certain way, and I think that like goes to the almost embarrassing. You don't even want to go full embarrassed. Jump over the cliff. Say embarrassed.
But I add almost to it because of this and the caveat that I always try to remember. And when we had other people on the show, there's been other personalities that have taken a lot more of an aggressive pro-black stance when it comes to the NFL. We had the I'm with Cap movement. We had people that were turning off the TV. And the reason I add almost to my description of it is it's also a league that pays a lot of black men handsomely. That as long as they combine that financial windfall with some financial literacy, if they can pool their money together, you can go out and establish your own power outside and independent of your relationship with the league. So that's the only reason I add almost, because it's also a league that's paying people handsomely that look like us. They're in a different tax bracket than most Americans. And so doing something with that opportunity is I guess I put almost on it because still brothers getting paid. And there are going to be racists in this world. I think that what we're calling the art of survival is also the level of acceptance is we've accepted that ignorance will exist. I don't accept that ignorance will change my self-confidence, my self-worth, what I teach my kids about being black. But I do accept that ignorance will exist. And the acceptance is where the LGBTQ community has said, nah, B, we're good.
Right.
It can't exist.
Right.
And I think the community is on to something because saying no to it and nipping it in the bud is at least publicly going to change it from existing. Right. And there are going to be people that have these comments and make statements in their private exchanges. And someone said earlier that the email should be released. But the people of power have the most to lose if the emails are released. Those emails are going to disclose a lot of things that the NFL does not want to talk about. I think it's a perfect transition for us to the NHL story and the Blackhawks. The fact that they're still called the Blackhawks. Look at their mascot. Completely misappropriated a cultural image for indigenous people, and they're still called the Blackhawks. So it doesn't surprise me that this is the same place that, 12 years ago now, to 11 years ago, there's a sexual assault that took place that was reported, that people knew about, that HR was involved in, that went largely unchecked.
I never heard about it. I'm here.
Led to predatory behavior. The guy was still on staff. And the person on staff bragged that it was consensual. It was consensual sex. That story blows my mind. It's sad. For those who don't know, the NHL story, former Blackhawks player complained of being sexually assaulted. I think they were at an away game. I don't remember exactly where it happened, but it was in a hotel. And since the predatory behavior has made itself be known, this person has been convicted of assault of someone else. There's a teenager that came out. There's just when you start peeling back the layers, it's a really ugly story. Really ugly story. And I think it only happens because the people in power are able to really control what we know. They're able to control sort of how they protect their own. And that's what I do like about to bring all of these sort of, make it a casserole of topics here. That's what I do like about the LGBTQ community, is that they are protecting their own. Very sad to see what happened with the Blackhawks, but not surprising. I don't know if either one of you wanted to weigh in before we move to some NBA stuff, but I had to at least acknowledge that that's a really bad story.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of bad parts of this story, but one of the worst things is this happened 11 years ago, right? And it wasn't in hiding. Kyle Beach, who was the Blackhawks, Chicago Blackhawks player, and this video coach, not even a assistant coach, not even a head coach, but a video coach for the team, essentially assaulted him. He reported it. The worst thing that happened to that coach, the coach's name, Brad Aldridge, the worst thing that happened to him, he was forced to resign, but he got a severance package. He finished the season. He got his name etched on the Stanley Cup, and he got a championship ring.
And got to hold the cup for a day. That little ceremony thing. Got to rock with the cup.
Yeah, the former player Beach was saying that was one of the hardest days, seeing that coach holding up the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, playoff bonus, and he was there at the banner raising ceremony, and then he was found having sexually assaulted 2 men at Miami University in Ohio when he was the director of hockey operations. Then he was found as a volunteer hockey coach for a high school team in Michigan. Allegedly assaulted a teenage player. The police tried to cover it up on his behalf, and he resigned. And then finally, he was sentenced to jail, 9 months for assaulting a high school player. And then 11 years later, they reopened the lawsuit because Kyle Beach basically filed the lawsuit anonymously, and then finally just came out. So to your point, this is a systemic cover-up. It wasn't one person. Yes, one person started the process, but I mean, we're talking law enforcement. We're talking executives of multi-million, billion-dollar organizations covering this up for a video coach, not a franchise player, not a assistant coach, not a head coach, not a GM, a video coach.
Well, yes, on behalf of the video coach, sorta. They were trying to protect the Blackhawks. They were trying
of course, they were protecting the institution, the system.
Well, Joe Quillen had to quit,
but they wouldn't even throw him to the wolves for it.
Right.
They wouldn't even sacrifice a video coach to do it.
Well, Quinlan, who was forced to resign right now from his position, I don't know how we feel about that with the Quinlan situation, because I don't know if this is a Quinlan issue or if this is an issue with the ownership of the Blackhawks, the general manager of the Blackhawks. I mean, I know he's the head coach, but he's definitely not the head man in this situation. He's a video coach. I mean, he didn't hire the video coach. The video coach is hired by Bowman or whoever Stan Bowman, I believe, was the president. So he's forced to resign. I don't know how you guys feel about that. If that's collateral damage to deflect, is that the Blackhawks trying to deflect to someone? I'm not saying that he shouldn't have or shouldn't have, but something seems weird about it to me that he's the one who's being put to blame for all this, as opposed to the Blackhawks organization and their ownership. Did the player just tell Quinlan?
No, there are a lot of disclosures in there. I think Quinlan what they're going to do is, by way of this lawsuit, follow the chain of command. Some of those emails are coming out, but you got to remember, this happened. This is 2011. This goes down.
Yeah,
this is the height of the Jerry Sandusky issue,
and this is the height of the Blackhawks run for Stanley Cup championship.
So that's why when you're protecting the institutions, you're protecting them from what was at that point, you thought Penn State would never be Penn State again. You thought they were done forever. True or not? I did. I'll just go ahead and say I did. I was like, well, I mean, they're ripping down Joe Pa's statue and vacating wins, and recruits will never go there again. And so I think the protection was to make sure that they didn't experience the same downfall. But very sad story. I'm that wrong is wrong. There's levels to wrong, though. That's deviant level wrong. And so
I think the one thing.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say, I think look at the power,
the help he needs. Go ahead, bro.
I think that the one thing that we're seeing, and the commonalities between this and then the emails that come out with Gruden, it's just in these big organizations and now the Rooney Rule's trying to force you to. You're dealing with the good old boy rich man's club. The people own the stuff, and there's power, and with all the power, there's corruption. There's a lot of hidden stuff that goes on. That's why, I think you earlier were talking about the racism. There's always going to be racist. It's not about the racist individual. It's about the systems behind it. It's not about the abusive person. There's always going to be people, unfortunately, that sexually abuse people, whatever. It's not even about that. It's about the system behind it that allows it to continue. So if the Blackhawks would have just got rid of this dude, again, like you say, a video coach, they didn't even have to do it really publicly. They could just fire this dude. It wouldn't even make a big, huge media push. A video coach? No one knows his name. They weren't even willing to do that, though. They wouldn't even do that because their brand is more important. The brand is more bigger. And that's the part of it that is like the most shocking. You know what I mean? There's always going to be criminals. It's just to allow people to operate in that system because that's more important, and for people to be brazen in emails and talk about different communities like that openly in this good old boys club. And have it go unchecked. It's just that's the part that makes people like, well, damn, what can be done when the powers that be don't care.
Great point. And I think it plays itself out. It's not until after the fact that we get these disclosures and see how many people knew and let this thing persist and go unchecked. And unfortunately for Mr. Beach, have a psychological grip on him for so long. Looking at his interview, I feel bad for the guy. And you understand that being the victim and not having anyone who a lot of them knew, but not having anyone come to your defense, I can see where that would be a psychological challenge. We got to talk some NBA. Psychological challenge is a great chance to segue into Ben Simmons. The Ben Simmons saga continues. Ben Simmons, despite being young and rich, I'd even say wealthy for him, and having the utmost potential, somehow, some way, he needs a mental health day and needs a few mental health days. Because of that, he is protected by the CBA, and they cannot withhold his money. So despite him not performing, not being available to the 76ers, not being in games, they cannot withhold his money. And that's an interesting wrinkle that I think changes the leverage that we talked about last week. I've had issues with Rich Paul and what he's advising some of his players. I think that Ben Simmons has gone about this wrong from the very beginning. But now Ben Simmons does have the protection of the CBA. And as long as he is saying that it's because of the impact on his mental health that this is having is why he can't, be full go and practice in that games. He's protected. Where do we go from here with Ben Simmons? Does anybody want him? Is he damaged goods? Will he ever play for the 76ers in normal capacity anymore? Will he ever be the star that we thought he was going to be? Because there are a lot of issues that I have with the story, but the biggest one is that there's a guard who had the entire NBA at his fingertips that is not playing right now for reasons that seem to be outside of basketball, personal reasons.
Yeah, I don't know. The main thing is, regardless of everything, I really just hope that he's not manipulating the collective bargaining agreement to continue to get paid while making a mockery of mental health. Because it's the same situation with like the healthcare insurance fraud situation with the NFL and the NBA retired players. Like, what you're going to do is create a precedent that's going to affect the collective bargaining agreement, and it's going to affect the evaluation. And when there are people that actually have these issues,
right,
they're going to be more restrictive about actually giving you leniency, and there could have some adverse effects. Some really dramatic effects.
They're going to think he's crying wolf, and other players are crying wolf too.
So if I understand, I mean, look, you play in Philadelphia and you can't take a jump shot in the playoffs. I'd have mental health issues too, but is that a disability that's preventing you from playing a game of basketball? I don't know. I don't know the man. Mental health is real. I just hope that it's not crying wolf. It's not a manipulation of the terms just so that he can continue to get paid, because that'll be disgusting. But all that to say, I think he suits up and he plays for the Sixers at some point this season.
Big Flo,
what else does he do? Man? What else does he do?
I don't know. He's between the rock and the hard place, but he's found a soft landing. He's found a soft landing that allows him to get paid.
Yeah. What you got for me? It's hard for me to disagree with anything that Ellis just said. And again, you do. I mean, part of you first chuckles is, when you say, okay, he's against the system and he's finding a loophole to get paid. But the precedent of making a mockery of, I mean, people had to fight probably to get that mental health portion to be put into it, right? And there's a lot of well-documented NBA players that have anxiety issues or other issues that really need to be protected. And they fought for those. And now Ben Simmons is just, maybe, you know what, Ben? I don't know you. So maybe you do have mental health issues. So I don't want to do that to you. But to what E's point, like I kind of like, I hope you do, man. I hope you're not faking it. You know what I mean? Like, don't do that to people, man. You rich already. You do a lot of people some disservices. They're suffering if that's the situation that you're in. And we've come a long way with mental health in this country of how we've accepted it and how we've been able to work with it and embrace it. Don't make a mockery of it. Don't do that stuff. Just work on your jump. Look here. You bring the hand back, you follow through, point the elbow, and just take a jumper. It's not that hard, man.
If he starts taking shooting advice from you, that will be an all-time new low.
Don't discredit me in front of all these people.
It's gotta be an improvement from where he is now.
Don't discredit me in front of all these people, man.
I am
room conversation.
We've come a long way with mental health. You're right, my bad. We've come a long way with mental health, but and I know I got in trouble last time I used this phraseology, but I'm gonna say it again. Maybe the pendulum has swung too far. Maybe it's swung too far, because I'm not certain that having an aggressive 76ers fan base that makes you nervous to take the shot in the fourth quarter. It makes you so nervous that you just don't go up and dunk the ball at 6'13", however tall he is. I'm not sure that's mental health. To me, that's the resolve of the player It's a part of that intangible quality that we learned to love in the 80s and 90s that we now, when we're having greatest of all time conversations, we now use as one of the factors. That just means, look, man, at Mount Verde Academy, when things were great, what they didn't prepare you for was this.
Right.
When things go awry and the fans are upset and they're blaming you, can you still be the player that we need you to be?
Yeah. I agree.
I don't think
But
that we might be
can
going
you
too far
survive
of
in
a direction.
Philly?
That's not a mental health issue. That's be a
well,
ball, dog.
To
Be a
be
dog.
fair, Philly fans threw snowballs at Santa Claus, right? Those some rough folks over there in Philly, man.
yeah. I
He's
mean,
not from here. He's from Australia. He's not. He hasn't. He didn't come up. You know what I mean? They're nice down there in Australia. Stuff the
Right.
toilets
It's
flush the other way.
cold.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. Maybe it is too much for him to handle. That's a lot.
I
Philly
agree.
fans-
I agree with everything you said, except one thing that I would kind of say is it's both. Like, it's mental health, but it's also do your job. Like, that's what differentiates. That's
They
why
pay you so
people
much money.
elevate to the point of professional athleticism and sports, an elite sports organization, is because you are able to manage your mental health with your physical health in a way that optimizes your performance. There's a whole industry that didn't exist when all of us played little league sports, or when we started the journey of sports, and sports psychology was not a conversation 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It's an industry now. So mental health is very much a part of the entire process. However, it does not give you the ability to say, you know what? I can't go today. I don't know if I know it's game 6 and it's a closeout, but I can't play today.
It has to
if
be.
you're an
It has to be
accountant
used against
and it's tax season, you are balancing the books. Get
Despite
the job
having,
done.
you be in the middle of a flu, but if it's tax season,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to, get some whatever you use, NyQuil, and work through it. But we need these taxes, bro. And that's all I'm saying is, I think the mental aspect of the game has always been there.
Always.
And I think that we've heard the players. Ben Simmons ain't the first player that's heard the voices of his home crowd and worried about what the missed shot is going to do for his involvement with those fans. He's not the first. But great players have learned to ignore the voices and listen a little more particularly and closely to the voice that says, take the shot, use your legs, use your wrists, and go through the muscle memory of shooting the shot. And so that's why I think and this is my humble opinion, and I could be wrong, and I leave room for that. But I think when I say the pendulum has swung too far, it's just that we can't call everything related to the psychology of sport, when it's not perfect, can't be considered, oh, that's a mental health issue, and he should take some time away. Right. No, you should fight through it. And look, I'm dealing with it with my son. My son's 11 years old. And boys go through all these crazy things. It might be pre-puberty. How you say that word?
Prepubescent.
Prepubescent. That word right there. Say it 5 times quick. No, whatever. He's
Ask
going through
the professor.
Right. He's going through all these things. And I think, as parents, especially my wife, wants to address it in certain ways and deal with it. And I said, frankly, everything can't be solved. Sometimes you just got to live through things, and being in this roller coaster of emotions and being able to take a deep breath and go to the other side and realize I'm still alive, although these emotions are going wild, it is exactly what you need as evidence the next time it happens. I made it through that time. It's fine, right? And I think we coddle some of these athletes because we don't let them fight through the reality of, hell yeah, them some loud voices in Philadelphia. Yeah. If you miss that shot, they are going, man. And I'm going to use LeBron as an example. When he finally just said, I'm going to shoot the shot, he finally stopped caring what people thought. He became an even better player. And I hope that Ben Simmons and other young players can get to that point where they can prioritize the things that matter the most, and the fans booing when it's all said and done don't matter. They just don't.
Yeah, I think you make a really important point, right? It's like he is foregoing a major obligation for
What you
what
mean,
he's
playing the
considering.
sport that he actually gets paid to do?
No, I mean he's a major professional obligation. So if you cannot fulfill a major professional obligation, then there needs to be some parity between that obligation and the impact and the effects of your mental health issue, right? So you can't just say, I woke up, I'm just not really feeling it. Don't really want to talk on the phone today. Yeah, that's very different than I can't go perform and work my $400,000 a day job.
Mm-hmm.
A day?
Like there's
$400 a day?
I would say it's probably close.
You about
I
to
mean,
make
he's
me go
making
withdraw
30.
my son from school right now and just work on jump shot.
Okay, sorry.
Get your butt out there in school. Let's go to the park.
Let's do the math. It's $3 million. If you just take it and extrapolate it over 12 months, $33 million. That's about $3 million a month. 30 days. So you're talking $100,000 a day. That's not games. That's just
they don't play every day.
Hey, after this show, I'm going to withdraw my son from school today. We're going to the park.
Homeschool.
Sure.
No, I think the thing is, and you hit on this, B, is, I mean, we're almost acting in society like the mental aspect of sports is brand new. Back in the day, Muhammad Ali used to talk trash to people in the media to get you so mad and get you outside of your game. Since the beginning of time, people have been icing the kickers on field goal to make the pressure greater to see if the guy can still do it. Ice him on a timeout so they can make the free throws. I remember famously when I was playing basketball, I love how I gave myself that much credit. I was playing basketball my freshman year.
Revisionist history.
Right.
Sometimes you got to catch yourself.
Packed,
like,
y'all. 3 times
I
over
caught myself
to see him
it doesn't
play
count.
freshman basketball.
It's kind of like when you misspell something, but you put the asterisk and the right spelling up. You didn't misspell it. You throw it back in the text before they get a chance to say you can't spell. I caught myself. Freshman year playing basketball, I went to a school called Loyola Academy. I'm from Evanston. We're playing Evanston. We're down by 1 point. No chance. Loyola's not supposed to win here. We're in the game. And my buddy whispers in my ear, go ahead, miss both these free throws. And I obliged. I missed both and we lost. And I tell you, but that
what kind of buddy is this? Why would you call him a buddy if he put that?
He was on Evanston. He played on the Evanston team.
He was on the other team. Okay, I'm thinking on your own team. That's a different level.
He was one of my groomsmen, and I've known him that long. But right, they call timeout. I can't shoot free throws anyway, but I'm nervous as hell. We can win this game. Major upset if we win this game. I'm happy as hell. It's my hometown team. I'm at the private school, no business. And he just calmly said, "Hey man, go ahead and miss both of these." And I was like, look like Ben Simmons out there shooting jumpers, and we missed. But again, the mental aspect of sport, that doesn't make mental health. I didn't call a timeout and tell him that this is too much pressure. I can't award me the 2 free throws.
I can't do it.
I can't do it. Award me the 2 free throws. I'm having mental health issues. I was tripping. I couldn't handle the stress and the pressure. Coach Oates used to say, and talked about pressure. He said, if I took 2x4 and laid it across this ground and told you to walk over it, you wouldn't pay attention. You just walk right over it without giving it a second thought. But if I extended that 2x4 across 2 skyscrapers, all of a sudden now you have all these perceived. But he's like, it's the same walk. There's no difference. And once you believe that there's no difference, then you'll be able to handle the pressure. Sounds good, right? Sounds real good. But
until that 2x4 is up, suspended in the air.
And there, but it's the same 2x4. The walk is no different. You walk, it just happens to be the stakes are higher, and that's what happens when you put 100,000 people in the stands, or you put people booing you, or the media writers. You start doing like KD and start having ghost accounts. You start letting people get to you. That's all mental. None of that is new, but now we're trying to meld that with people who actually have clinical anxiety issues or clinical depression and different things. We're trying to meld that and put that in the same bucket. It's because we've been raising these kids too soft. Right?
Look, at the risk of sounding old, I was going to say, I mean, these kids really want to post every highlight that they have just to get as many likes as they can get because it matters to them. It really matters to them. And as a dad, the 2 boys that play sports and in a space that is the norm, it has been an uphill battle to try to get my son to be like, bro, we're not doing that. Okay, cool. You're ranked here. Like, I never want to hear you talk about that. No, I'm not posting videos of you. I'm just not doing it because it doesn't matter. When you start to recognize the insignificance of someone's someone else's appreciation of you, their validation, especially in a sports context, when you start to appreciate the insignificance of that, then you're a baller. And I just think Ben Simmons, being big, tall, he was a prodigy from a young age, from a basketball standpoint. He never had to struggle through that difficult but real prioritization of what really matters. He never struggled through it because he's lived his entire life, basketball life, in a limelight such that the rankings matter and the likes matter, and he's this and he's that. But I hope sports psychologists are out there teaching that message. That the quicker you can say, man, who gives a damn what the fans think? No matter if the fans love him or hate him, he still gets that $100,000 a day that you just described, ETP.
Sure does.
And when LeBron said that, this was the first year in Miami when they lost, and they said, he essentially was like, tomorrow y'all gonna wake up the same life y'all have. I'm gonna wake up the same life I have. And people got offended by it. He's like, basically said, I got a good life, y'all don't. He didn't say that. He just said, you're gonna wake up the same problems that you had today, you're gonna have them tomorrow. And I'm gonna have my life tomorrow. I think it should have been like, we should have captured that and made it an entire curriculum for young athletes, because that's the truth. What people think about you really don't matter. And you can't control it anyway. I say all that, and then I also say to Ben Simmons, because it has been diagnosed, at least accepted by the 76ers, as some form of mental health. I wish him nothing but the best. So I don't want to minimize it. Other NBA news. This new foul rule, if you initiate contact, which is essentially James Harden 2.0, is now being completely disallowed. They've moved away from it. It started with the kicking the foot out on the three-pointer. The refs stopped honoring that as a call. But now they can blow the whistle and just say no foul at all. I think it's going to change the game. Who
gets the ball?
I imagine it would be, I don't know, great question. I don't know who gets the ball.
They just blow the whistle. He didn't foul you.
Right. Maybe it's a jump ball. I don't know. Ooh, great question.
That'll make you stop doing that real quick, though.
Make you stop doing
jump ball.
Right, because then it could be a turnover. But it's interesting to see how they're trying to kind of pull back from it being an offensive-minded league, right? That rule change favors the defense, not the offense. So I guess they tired of seeing 150 to 148 scores in the NBA.
I think that the fans are getting tired of the whole flopping thing and all the different things like that, and it's starting to get gross with the gross bastardization of the rules, man. I'm trying to do this foul, trying to call the whistle to play basketball. Let's get this day. It's supposed to be a continual game. It's too much start and stop with that foul and mess with the way they're going. So I'm happy they're doing it. I was tired of it.
Right. I'm sure James Harden is not happy, because that is basically his entire game.
Yeah.
The Ball brothers. The Ball brothers, they're 1 and 2. Lonzo and LaMelo are 1 and 2 in the East. You got the Chicago Bulls, and you got the Hornets. Somewhere, LeVar Ball has a cold drink, talking trash, and said, I told you so.
Never.
I like them, man. They both playing well, too. LaMelo Ball is balling out, man. And, I think that, and I am notorious for being a LaMelo fan. But I think seeing both of them succeed is refreshing as a dad, because we all criticize that, man. I'm hoping that Jello makes it too. We're gonna have a whole Ball family reunion in the NBA. It's coming. It is coming. Other NBA stories: the Lakers are struggling a bit. LeBron's injured. Russell Westbrook has been very turnover happy. That's the one cat. We all celebrated his triple doubles, but we ignored that other statistical category.
It was really a quadruple double because the turnovers were 10.
All the turnovers. And then in crunch time, Carmelo shot an air ball. Russell Westbrook got ticked off at the young player who stole the ball and dunked it with 10 seconds left. I don't know what that was about. I guess he wanted him to just dribble it out. Or maybe it's just because it's OKC. Or maybe it's just because it was whatever day of the week, Wednesday. Russell Westbrook seems to always be mad. But the Lakers don't look like the shoe-in champion that we thought they were. You look at their roster, it looks crazy. Their roster is it's stacked. It's stacked.
Let's stop it, though. People, every time a team gets together that's like this, they expect them the first game to look like they do at the end. Give them a chance. They start look at the Nets. I mean, if they didn't have the injuries, they started off trash, and then they had to get people to play. Look when the Magic had their team. The Heat when LeBron went down to the Heat, they started off as trash. Then they got together.
We weren't trash.
When they first started out, they were trash.
Yeah, we struggled.
Trash.
First
Depends
25
on how
games.
soft you are. Depends on how soft you're from Australia. And Ben Simmons, you are. It's trash. Those are hurtful words.
You heard me by talking about my team.
They were trash, but they won the championship eventually. So stop it. The Lakers don't start look at championship team.
But the Lakers don't have eventual in them. What they did was they amassed older talent.
Yeah.
So you're right to make the comparison again with Miami Heat, but they were in their prime. The big three, D Wade, LeBron, and Bosh were in their prime. What the Lakers have done is they've gotten everyone that is just slightly, and in some cases, well past their prime. And so it's win now. LeBron is getting to that point, man. We've had different iterations of his hairline. This iteration of his hairline is towards the last chapter. It's towards the last chapter of his NBA career. When the headband, he got one of them thick headbands, right? This particular attempt to hide the hairline is a part of the last chapter of LeBron being LeBron on court. So that's the only thing I would say about the Lakers is they must win now. Russell Westbrook, They got Rondo, Dwight Howard, Carmelo Anthony, You got to win now.
They will. They'll win playoff times.
They're definitely older for sure. But LeBron, he got a little ankle injury, but he doesn't look like he's in his 19th year. Westbrook still got a lot of motor in him. Obviously, he's got to fit in. Anthony Davis is 28 years old.
Is he hurt yet?
So yeah. So I think the age thing, I just feel like watching the NBA is like watching NCAA March Madness, because you've got these one and done, like what it's been for some years, like these one and done teams that have all the stars, and then like Creighton comes in and goes to the Final Four because they've been playing together. They got a solid team. Everybody knows their role. So they'll move through it. But, the Nets don't look good right now. Philly doesn't look great right now. Like all the top teams, LA looks like a disaster. But LA, I'm going to say, I think they need to go into like a hockey philosophy, bring Westbrook off the bench, spread out that talent, run lines. They're all older, most of them. Run 25, 30 minutes across the board. Just change the whole approach to it, because you're not Russell Westbrook and LeBron James on the same court. Like, this is a situation where there's absolutely only one ball. And it's not because they're taking all the shots, but because how he's facilitating with two totally different style of play.
Right. There it is. Must be Halloween weekend. Every time we start talking about NBA basketball, some crazy Knicks fan has to come out of the woodworks and think that this is finally the year. Listen, Knicks, you're relegated to being terrible forever. I hate to be the one to break the news to you, but if I don't do it, who will? And it might offend you such that you need to take a mental health day. If so, take your day. Y'all ain't never going to be good again, because you got your punk, what, racist owner and the entire family. So you're relegated to being the punchline of jokes. And so, in this moment, since my homeboy, Scott Bibb, had the audacity to say to Knicks when the NBA conversation came up, you were again the punchline of a joke. He's first place. Who cares? Y'all first place, right? Y'all Knicks are terrible. We got to talk about some other sports, though, before we get out of here. I wanted to make sure we talked about the Great Fall Classic, and that is the World Series, Atlanta versus Houston. I don't know what it is now. I know it was tied at
Boston
1.
was going to win the World Series.
the guy from Boston said that the Red Sox were going to win the World Series, and he was wrong. Because they're not in
now
it.
his earphones don't work.
Now all of a sudden his mute button.
I can't hear nothing.
I can't hear you. I
don't know what you're saying. We need to get the lip sync lady from Cardi B song. Oh,
right.
okay.
Right. He muted himself just so we couldn't claim. Can we take you off mute now, Ellis, the producer, or you want to keep it?
He's the producer. He can handle that stuff.
We can take you off mute if you want, so you can weigh in on this. You ready? There you go.
He's not interested.
Oh, he's not interested. All right.
He's not interested.
Either something wrong.
I was on mute. Oh, sorry.
I was on mute. We said that 20 times, man.
My bad. But we move on.
World
who
Series,
you got winning?
Baseball has been over since the Red Sox beat the Yankees.
It's the Red Sox. You sound like Yankees fan. Who you have winning? Because there are two teams playing, and I know that it was split at one point. It's interesting to see that this is now being played, right? They're going to be games played in Atlanta. Because you remember MLB moved the All-Star game from Atlanta because of the voting laws being steeped in racist voter suppression style origins. And now the World Series is being played there. Atlanta's still getting the money, so they got the last laugh. And the Astros were caught stealing signs very recently. You got the fact that Atlanta is called the Braves. We talked about the Blackhawk, but Atlanta is still called the Braves. So in this politically correct world, in this cancel culture society, you've got these two teams that seem to be like they run afoul of what the politically correctness mantra should be. Yet I think it's a good series. I know it was 1-1 at one point. Altuve, who seems to have 9 lives when it comes to baseball, had a big game too. I don't know what happened in game 3, but the Great Fall Classic, MLB World Series Baseball. By this time next week, there will be a champion, correct? Right? Game got to be. Where are they at?
Game three is tonight.
Game 3 is
tied
1-1. So I didn't miss anything.
So game 7, if it goes 7 games, will be November 3rd, which is Wednesday of the following week. So
all right.
a
So
week
this
and a
time
half
next
from
week,
now.
we'll have
next
a
week.
champion.
November.
Who you picking? ETP. Who you got?
Right.
Astros, Braves.
I gotta go with the Astros. They beat the Red Sox, so
they must
gotta
be good.
respect. They gotta be great. They're excellent.
I think you're gonna go with it. If they win it, you're gonna say, "Oh, we were third." You're gonna go with one of those arguments. I can't stand those lines.
We were second because the World Series already happened. We lost the World Series. This is the consolation round right now.
Oh, you were second. We'll get the runner up.
So I have to go with the Astros. I can't.
Go with the Astros.
I can't. I have to underscore the idea that they still call the Braves. There's a tomahawk in their logo. They still do the tomahawk chop. Just by karma alone, I refuse to root for that team.
The Big Flow Show. Who you got? Braves, Astros.
Lakers in 6. I don't care. I don't care about baseball.
Hey, we get credit though, man. Even though it's not necessarily in our comfort zone, we're still talking. We're still making sure we talk baseball. Great Fall Classic for those who are still addicted to baseball and still call it America's favorite pastime. Enjoy what seems to be a good World Series. All right. Quickly before we get out of here, Mikey Williams, the high school phenom from San Diego, the one who's been rumored to be strongly considering HBCU. I'm sure the G League's involved in conversations with Mikey. I doubt Overtime League is, but people are all talking to Mikey Williams. He's been a household name. He's been the media darling, Mr. Instagram for a while. He just signed a sneaker deal with Puma, and he's in high school. Name, image, and likeness has taken a whole different leap into the next frontier when a high school player signs a Puma deal. Is it thumbs up or thumbs down? Do we like where it's heading? Because now this player being in contract with Puma, does that influence where he goes to school? Can he not go to an Adidas school, a Nike school, Under Armour school. I don't know that there's any Puma schools. Can Puma be proactive and go to one of these HBCUs and say, hey, we should be your signature shoe. We've got Mikey Williams. It could be a package deal. This seems like sort of the next chapter of where we were with name, image, and likeness. A high school player signing a signature sneaker deal. Not with Pro Kids and Bobos, but with Puma. That's a Florida term. Bobos. Bobos. Do we like where this is heading, man? And I like Mikey Williams. But what is going to entice him to go to class? What is going to entice him to keep going to practice? He's already got the pot of gold.
You're right. He don't need to go to class. He's got it. He can pay somebody to do it. He's good. He's fantastic. He's going to be fine. He's going to make money. This is a free market. We go to school, get education so that we can make money, right? You want to be smart, but ultimately you go to school so you can make some money. He's making money anyway. What are we going to be mad about that? He can always be educated through the people he surrounds himself to teach him about life. I can't remember what I learned in my science class in college. I don't know anything about Spanish 101 in college, nothing. I just learned a lot about life, and I know how to do that. So as long as he learns how to do life, he'll be straight.
Yeah, I love this, and I really don't like it at the same time. So I love this in the sense of this is nothing new. Now it's just the player, the player is actually getting the money, right? There's been Nike AAU teams and Reebok and Puma and Adidas and all of this where, I mean, there's a story, the best basketball player at the time, more famous than LeBron, Shea Cotton. And he basically had, back in the 90s before his career got derailed, he basically had a Nike deal, but they weren't giving him money, supposedly. They were just giving him sneakers. He had a different pair of sneakers for every game, but there was a reason Nike was doing that, because of the celebrity, because of the marketing value and all of this. So even at the high school level, down to the 10 and under AAU level, there's Nike teams, there's Nike leagues, there's Nike camps, there's all of these different brands are involved, and they're getting this money. So I love it for the fact that it's actually putting the money in the people's hands who are driving those sales and driving that revenue. I really dislike it because it has taken amateurism and thrown it completely out the window. So to your point, he is now a professional. He is a professional basketball player, and it's not about being eligible to play basketball, not going to your classes, having Big Flo teach history, none of that. It's literally just how do you maximize your revenue and your profit as a player. So it's unfortunate that it's just, I mean, he's 16, 17, he may not even be able to drive, and he's got a potentially multi-million-dollar, multi-year deal.
Oh, he's not even a senior in high school.
He's gonna be. He's a class of
23.
23.
They reclass up and back so much. I don't know which class he's in now.
He ain't
17 years old.
To hell with high school. I'm just gonna go hoop at the park for money.
First American high school player to sign a sneaker deal with a global footwear company. And I am going to
Did they disclose the money?
I don't think they disclosed the number. They didn't disclose the number. But I'm gonna go out on a limb here and be the old man. I hate this. This is now taking us. This is the race to the bottom. This is taking us deeper into the deep end where we can't come back from it, because young people that see this, he's got over 5 million combined Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter followers. And of those 5 million, I'm gonna assume, with no empirical data to back me up, but just anecdotally, just seeing the people that interact and engage with him on his page, that a lot of them are young people. A lot of them are young basketball players. A lot of them aspire to be the next Mikey Williams. So what they do is, now again, I don't have empirical data, but a lot of anecdotal data to support this, is that these young people, instead of working on their jump shot, working on their ball handling, they're working on being a social media person. And what this says is that the potential outcome of you being a great social media person is be, signed to a global footwear company out of high school. I think a lot of these young players are going to think that they can then become Mikey Williams. And the truth of the matter is, for every Mikey Williams, there's some player somewhere working on their craft, working on their game, that's going to be recruited, that's got an opportunity to go to NBA, that's got an opportunity to get a free education and do significant things post high school, but you just don't hear about it. And this is, to me, the culmination of being loud and in your face with social media, and it's giving them a false sense of this could be you too. And the truth of the matter is, if you spend more time working on your followers and your TikTok choreography than you do your jump shot, you ain't gonna be Mikey Williams. So that's why I hate it.
Do you follow Mikey Williams? Do you follow him on social media?
I do not follow him.
Okay.
5 million Instagram followers.
I do not follow him, but when a video comes up with Mikey Williams, I will watch it. I'm not opposed to Mikey Williams, but I don't follow him. I heard that he's got every celebrity known to mankind that he's seen with on his Instagram page. He's a celebrity. And so at 17 years old, if you live a celebrity lifestyle,
So
if you live a celebrity lifestyle in terms of your social media presence, if you live a celebrity lifestyle in terms of being signed by Puma, what on God's green earth is going to have you being a respectful young man that appreciates how much you don't know at 17? The mix is just, it's all messed up. And I think it leads to potential issues. I haven't heard that Mikey Williams is a jerk to anyone. But if I heard that Mikey Williams was a jerk, it wouldn't shock me. Because at 17, having all that at your fingertips, it undermines the process of growing up and learning how to respect adults and respecting authority figures. What is an authority figure to a 17-year-old that's got a Puma deal? When that history teacher does try to tell Mikey, we need better effort on the history test, Mikey looking at him like, what? You looking at him or her like, what are you talking about? I just think it messes up the process of growth and development for young people. And the more we look at this as the new frontier, the more we move away from just players honing their craft, working on them, forget social media. Just go become a great basketball player, a football player, or whatever you play, hockey, baseball, for the purity and love of the game. Because once it becomes a business, there's no walking back from that. Mikey Williams will never, ever be able to appreciate the purity of just going into a gym and playing a game for the love of it, because he is officially a businessman that has allowed basketball to be the center of his business. That is his business plan, basketball. And it's worked out for him. He succeeded.
I'll push back a little. I'll push back a little though. Like, now he is officially a business person. But it's been a business, right? There have been businesses that have been monetizing his performance. You know, like I said, there's brands that are involved at a youth sports level that are monetizing all of this. So it's been a business before NIL, right?
Right.
So how do you reconcile that? Like, I don't like it at all. Like, I don't like the idea of basically, removing the youthful exploration of sports performance in favor of professionalism. I don't support that, but I also recognize that there's tons of businesses that are making money off of this, and these kids and these people that are participating in it aren't seeing any of that money. So how do you reconcile that? Like,
it is tough. It is tough, but in every other category, we started off talking about like the Blackhawk story, and even we talked about Sandusky. We try to protect our kids in every way imaginable from physical abuse, from sexual abuse, from being at the mercy of a predator from a physical standpoint. I just think that there's also predators and people that abuse from a business standpoint. And the more we put our young people in position to have these mega deals, we're also putting them in position to be on the wrong end of abuse when it comes to business. So that, I guess that's the old man to me, the protective, paternal instinct kicking in, saying we should consider that. But I hear you loud and clear. this business has preceded Mikey Williams and will definitely be, the business of sport will be here long after. So, and that's what we talk about here, the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. It's been a great week. Any parting shots, you guys, before we get out of here? 10-second bye-byes, any shout-outs, any birthdays, celebrations, happy Halloween, of course.
I just hope Mikey Williams ends up going pro and having a good career, because this will be a very bad story. But happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Anything.
Good luck to the Naperville Central Redhawks. Get a chance to avenge their loss to the Naperville North tonight in the playoffs. It's win or go home. So
let's go Central.
Good luck. Good luck.
Let's go Central. I'm going with Central on this one by a touchdown.
Central. Appreciate you.
Yeah. And for those of you who will be in the New Jersey area, this has been the Trick or Treat episode, but we will be at Paul Robeson Stadium on Sunday. It is Championship Sunday on Halloween. I may or may not be in a mask. I'm straight up getting creepy. It's for the championship for the East Orange Junior Jaguars, 8 and 9-year-old Mighty Mike team. Come out and support. We will be doing a fundraiser for the new uniforms we bought them. We will be doing a fundraiser for the potential travel that we might have upcoming, because if we win and keep on winning, we might be going to Disney World. That's right. We need your help. So come on out if you're in the New Jersey area on Sunday. Our game is at 9 a.m. There will be championship games all day long. We got lucky to host the championship game and be in the championship game. So come check us out, Paul Robeson Stadium on Sunday at 9 a.m. Love the Mighty Mites and our Junior Jaguar family. So please come support. With that, if you go out trick-or-treating tonight, please be safe. Please wear a mask. And when I say a mask, I mean one of the protective ones, not the decorative ones that you become a certain personality and character. This has been the Ball Hawk Sports Talk, where sports, business, and entertainment collide. I had the fortunate gift of leading you as your host today. I am B. Brown, ESQ, a.k.a. the Ball Hawk, a.k.a. the Mouth South, a.k.a. Mr. Excessive Celebration, a.k.a. Breezy, here with the Big Flow Show, here with ETP, for another week of the Ball Hawk Sports Talk. Please like, please comment, please subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a foe, tell anybody that you know. And again, subscribe in the YouTube world and on the podcast format of your choice. With that, we is out. Peace.
We still